The Gospel of Gold by G.S. Lewis. Will stood stiffly, his shoulders rigid, plainly seething. His hand drew to his Pokeball belt, but stopped before actually releasing any more of his team. As the trio watched, he lowered his head, scowled, and slipped the mask back over his eyes. Presently, he spoke. I didn't lose to you. I lost to this room. I should have known better than to come here. Will sighed. Dark types have the mastery over psychic types because of our hypersensitivity to their depravity. Karen has done much brooding in this chamber, imagined many black fantasies, unthinkable to decent folk. I don't know much of her backstory, but the few times I have been summoned to this spot, I've picked up on things, after images, resentful memories. She is always angry, no matter how well she keeps it in check. I feel it, even now. Will paused, and from her place at the distant computer screen, Marina took the opportunity to interject. You make it sound like all dark types are bad. What about this? To psychics, they may as well be, Will retorted, moving toward her again. And speak plainly, you know I can't see. See what? Asked Junichi, as he and Gold followed. Marina waited until they were within the light of the computer screen, then held up what she had found. A picture of a young Karen in her early teens. The framed photograph depicted her smiling cheerily while holding a squirming Eevee in her arms. This is her Umbreon, right? Marina asked the group as they gathered. Or what it was at first. They evolve only through a consistent showing of kindness, and just from this picture, it looked like Karen was a sweet girl at one point. She glanced at her companions. What changed? And why does she still hold on to this? Gold put a hand to his chin as a thought struck him. Just like Silver, he breathed. She didn't start out evil. But she sure ended up that way, remarked Junichi, eyes narrowed. Silver had a sob story too, but that didn't excuse him in the Phoenix's eyes. She's gotta be brought to justice for all the Pokemon her policy killed, and for what Team Rocket's done under her direction, and for kidnapping me and Marina and my Pokemon. He stopped, eyes going wide. My Pokemon! Are they here? What did she have Koga do with them? Gold saw Will observe Junichi more closely as he spoke, if not by his eyes, then by the body language of his subtle tenseness, as one who hears a secret whispered. You kids are nothing like the people I worked with, Will muttered. No mental discipline at all. I can read you like a book. Junichi glared at him indignantly, but the elite continued, sounding surprised at his own words. Well, shame on me for not recognizing you earlier. So you're the one Koga brought back here. I was out of sorts then, but now that I see where they put you... Will grimaced, and Gold watched him, hardly believing what he saw. The expression looked almost like... remorse? Was that possible, considering this man had rubbed shoulders with Rockets and undoubtedly probed their memories too? Or, knowing what he could do, had Karen taken measures to prevent him learning too much? Will might have been lying, but to Gold's ears, it sounded like he really hadn't been informed of Junichi's fate after bringing him to League HQ. Without finishing his previous thought, Will put his hands to the keyboard and began tapping away at the computer. As Gold watched the screen, windows flew by, faster than he could keep up. After a few seconds, an index of names and trainer IDs popped up, A very extensive list, if the side scroll bar was any indication. In the upper left corner was a decorative logo of a boy in a backwards cap, holding a Pokeball in pre-battle pose. His shirt spelled out the word lad. "Are you really blind?" asked Marina, her face awed. "How are you able to do that?" "The keyboard requires no vision. It's muscle memory in the fingers if one spends enough time on it," replied Will. "The same goes for the League Asset Database. If I said I could navigate it in my sleep, I would hardly be exaggerating." He reached up and tapped Junichi on his elbow. "Type in your trainer ID, please." Junichi raised an eyebrow at him. "Can't you read it from my mind, Mr. Know-It-All?" "It seems you never committed it to memory, smartass," said Will dryly. "I'm trying to make amends here, but you're not making it any easier." "I know it," Marina piped up. "Junie's and mine were just one number apart." She recited it, and Will's fingers danced. A second later, 3 Pokemon appeared on the screen: a Meganium, a Marill, and an Onix. The latter 2 had icons of open green locks to the left of their profiles. By Meganium sat a yellow, half-closed lock. "Are there any red lock icons on the screen?" asked Will. "No," answered Junichi, his eyes wide and hopeful. "Why? What would it mean?" "It would mean that the person I'm pretending to be on here doesn't have clearances to access them," said Will simply. "But we're good. Stand by for transport." Now that Gold's eyes were better adjusted to the dark light of Karen's chamber, he saw that a Pokeball transport module sat just beyond the glow of the screen, next to the printer. A sudden brightness and the crackle of electricity left him momentarily stunned. But when he looked again, there were 3 Pokeballs resting in the formerly empty slots of the machine. With a cry of joy, Junichi snatched them up, and Gold thought he saw the smallest flicker of a smile twitch on Will's face.